All right.
And we are off.
A kind of tricky thing right off the bat, especially for less experienced players, is kind of it's an ambiguous timing for when you actually gain control of X after the ready, the ready letters go away. I use a music cue. I don't know if there's actually anything easier than that. But anyway, we're going into the intro stage, just some straightforward movement, killing all the purple guys.
Yeah, a dash shot and a green charge shot will take each of them out, or you can mash like 3 lemons. We'll do the same thing.
And it's different in this game than the other X games, right? Because in X1 and 2, a dash lemon will do 2 damage. And in this game, it doesn't. It still does 1 damage, I believe.
Actually,
is that the case?
The dash lemons do work on minor enemies, and they only work on the intro boss. You can actually dash lemon the intro boss, but you rarely see that in any kind of a RTA setting.
Yeah, I think. I was just gonna say the hitbox for the blue shot is a little bit bigger and a little more reliable to hit the giant's head.
So neither of them get the 0 gap jump there.
Zam actually looks like he lost a little bit of time trying to do that saber tech.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So the way the actual Z-Saber works, it doesn't completely one-shot the boss here. It actually deals damage equal to the max HP that the enemy has, minus 1 HP. So consider it like a Heartless Angel version of an attack, basically. So once you hit him with the Z-Saber, it takes 1 shot of any kind, and Mac is dead. So it's pretty powerful, but it's not completely broken. Now, an odd quirk here. Normally, when you enter a door and before the boss fight, you can kind of let go of your charge button to kind of rest your thumb. But in this particular case, if you are not pressing the holding the charge button when the music when X walks, you actually lose your charge.
Yes, but if you let go of the button as he's walking to the right at any point after that little freeze, then it doesn't matter. You still have the charge, which is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, the game just checks for that 1 frame to see if you're actually holding the charge, and then after that, you're in the clear.
And the charge, does 4 damage to him, and the blue shot does 3?
Yeah.
Green shot, I mean.
Correct. So you always start with a full charge shot, and then you just keep hitting him with a green shot, unless the fists come and hit you, and then you just use your invincibility period to charge up for the second full charge. So it looks like Celestinno has an early lead. And a neat thing, and a kind of a sad thing about X3, you can actually skip the boss stage intro screen there just by holding Y or pressing start.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because this game has a lot of downtime from explosions and cutscenes and such, so, while that might be nice to watch, it's still good to, increase the action and cut down on the downtime, at least from a speedrun perspective.
Yeah. So, they both go through this big, large boss room, which doesn't have any impact just yet. We won't see that come into play for a couple stages. So it looks Zam got a gap jump there. He got a second gap jump, and he gets the third.
Celestinno having some trouble getting up here. It can be tricky with the ice physics in this stage. If you dash into a wall, it ricochets you back in the other direction, and it can easily eat your input. It can be really frustrating. So that little stair segment can go really wrong. And they got the dash boots, which will allow them to air dash and then also vertical dash.
Yeah, a little added mechanic in X3. When you exit a capsule, you can actually buffer a dash, so it's pretty easy to get going as soon as you get out of there.
I didn't know that. That's neat.
Yeah, there's a couple other places, actually. When you get control of 0 in the intro, you can also buffer a dash before you get control. So it looks like Zam's going for the CFO strat. I think Celestinno's trying to do it, but I think he missed a charge shot there.
Yeah. I think this is something where if you're not 100% consistent at it, then it might be better to just do the...
Oh, Energy Zam kind of messes up the timing and he gets an Ice Beam. This allows Celestinno to come right back in this fight.
Yeah, now he's got a couple of seconds of a lead. Oh, he paused.
What?
What's going on with this pause here?
Whoa!
Uh-oh.
I've never seen that. I thought you were locked out.
I don't know.
Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to test that myself. That is odd.
Sam posting an IRC that this run is going well so far. It sounds like that might be a little bit of sarcasm. Wait, can you buffer the dash at the beginning of the intro stage with X?
I don't know about X. I know 0 you can.
Okay.
I don't think. Yeah.
That drove me crazy.
Yeah. You can't do it with X when you get him back from being captured. I know that. I don't think you can. But for 0, yes, definitely.
Gotcha. So some straightforward movement again in this first Seahorse segment. You want to be, they're going to be dash jumping and not dashing along the ground in the where the sludge is, because it slows you down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's better to just do a bunch of dash jump. Yeah, you want to retain your dash speed in the air.
And they both enter the door at the same time here.
Got ourselves a nice sync going, or close to it at least.
Yeah, there's a couple places during that first climb where you have to double kick because a full height dash kick off won't get you high enough to reach the next stage.
Double kicking will give you that one additional pixel and just kind of barely get you over the lip there.
Okay, so they're going into the Hot Terika fight. 11 ice shots here with the Frost Shield will kill the boss. And they're both... Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, looked like he had some trouble getting started, but he recovered nicely.
And Zam takes the lead just barely coming out of this fight. So we're seeing the Seahorse second route from these racers. About last year, the top runners were doing Neon Tiger second solely for RNG grinding. But if you do Seahorse second, there's a couple benefits. First one, when Bit and Bite appear after the first 2 stages are beat, there's no risk of having the Bit and Seahorse where you have to use Buster for the mini boss instead of Ice, just because, just like in the Hundos scenario where that could happen.
Yeah, because Ice is the mini boss's weakness, the boss's weakness, and Bit's weakness. So you just don't have enough. You end up having to Buster the mini boss. It's a little slower, I think.
And the second benefit, you can do Tunnel Rhino third and then do Neon Tiger fourth. And the benefit of having the drills for Tiger is you can actually use them to dash through some of the enemies. It just saves a couple of seconds, but if you get good RNG in those 2 routes comparably, you'll see where the time save kind of adds up.
So they both successfully completed the fight. The little quick kill there. The iframes on Toxic Seahorse are strange. It's like after he stops flashing, he's still in his stunned animation if you use his weakness. And while the iframes are gone and he's still stunned, you can mash a bunch of shots into him, and he has it won't activate his iframes. You just keep doing damage like as fast as you possibly can. You can get in, like half his health bar, a little more than that. Yeah,
there's a small period after those iframes run out and before he actually is damageable with the 60 frame iframe instance after he jumps. So you let him jump out of the stun so that you can actually repeat the cycle, because if you mash too long, you actually trigger the iframes on the ground, and then you have to let him do a full jump before you can repeat the attempt.
Right, and it's like he'll always jump if you hit him with the weakness and he's on the ground. So you use that to kind of manipulate his whole pattern to your advantage. Okay,
now we're already seeing a route divergence here. Zam is actually doing the Tunnel Rhino third, while Celestinno is going right into Neon Tiger.
Oh, we got the bomb.
That's a tough little shot to pull off, because to do it the way you're supposed to, you have to get really close to the wall cancer, and then you have to mash those quick shots before you move forward. And you have to do it kind of fast. Like maybe you have to hit the wall cancer on the top half of the sprite and then kill him so that you can actually get that angle to not touch that ledge. So I don't believe Bit appeared in Rhino for Zam, but we may have that possibility in Tiger for Celestino because he's approaching the Bit room. And no appearance.
No Bit yet. Zam a little low on health going into the last second. Oh, he got a small health drop. He's an experienced player. He's been in this situation before plenty of times. But, you know, if you're ever in dire need of health in this situation, you can mash 2 frost shards into the drill enemies and get a health drop if you'd like. Because the frost shard actually will force the enemy to drop a health, either big or small. It doesn't work on floating enemies. Floating enemies don't drop anything, I believe, ever.
It's not guaranteed for wall enemies or enemies that you kill in the air. It only applies to enemies that are touching the ceiling or the ground.
That's it.
So Tiger is staying on the wall here for Celestino, which is kind of okay. He's not going to be able to go into the angry phase if he's on the wall. So that's kind of good, but you can't get the optimal damage on Tiger when he's on the ground, and he needs to be very wary. He's about to die. Okay. So when Tiger is below his 10 HP desperation threshold, he'll go into this gold charge, and you can't damage him, but he can actually go across the screen, and then he'll go up the opposite wall before he comes out of that period.
He'll like try and trick you too. Like if the game detects that you've like dashed it up to the wall and want to dash off of the wall, he'll jump early and try and catch you.
Mm-hmm.
But Celestino avoided that very nicely and survived.
And one thing I want to note, before he went to the Tiger fight, he actually picked up a heart tank, and that could help later in the game. Now that he has 18 HP instead of 16, he's able to take a second hit from some of the bosses if he comes into those fights at full HP. Zam is still at 16 HP, but I think he's pretty experienced that he shouldn't be concerned about taking damage. And he does get the 1 cycle on the Worm Seeker.
And he got the dash at the end of the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more difficult than it looks, trust me. And Celestino taking that safety sub tank, always good. It's right there. I mean, in a race setting, especially in a tournament, you know, it's not a bad call.
Mm-mm.
And I didn't see. Did he go and get the heart and seahorse as well, or is he only has 18? Then no, he didn't. Because he got Tiger. All right, Celestino getting bit.
So the aim of the bit fight, you want to start with a normal Buster Lemon, and then do 10 Frost Shields, and then finish him off with another Lemon. That's the optimal damage method, and you just want to scare him off. You don't want to actually destroy him and trigger the lengthy explosion sequence.
Yeah.
And they both get bit in their 4th stage, so we won't see Bit and Catfish.
And the other thing is, well, it's a little late now, but the fireballs that Bit throws do like 3 or 4 damage, so it's a little bit more beneficial for you to take body damage, which only does 1.
Yeah, the fireballs actually deal 6 damage.
Oh, geez, it's 6. Okay.
Yeah, and the little blade that he throws when he goes across the screen deals, I believe, 4. It's 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly, but it's right in that range.
Gotcha.
So now we're seeing Tiger stand on the ground for Zam. So whenever Tiger does an attack on the ground, he has an iframe reset. So you're able to see his HP go down by 2 really quickly if you pay attention enough to it. But you see right there, he tried to shoot a charge shot at Tiger, but Tiger just blocked it. So you only shoot the charge shot while he's firing the Ray Splasher, or if he's in the air on the wall.
Oh, Zam in some trouble here.
Oh no! That is unfortunate for Zam, because he died at the very end of that fight. So now he has to go through all of that effort again.
And not only that, but he didn't get a single slash, which would have been a good fight otherwise.
That was a really good fight, and oh man.
Very unfortunate for Zam, but we're still pretty early on, so it's anybody's game.
Yeah, Celestinno has to watch on this Rhino fight, or he'll make the same fate as Zam did.
And not only that, but dying at any point in the Rhino stage will actually, like, he has a bunch of attacks that he just doesn't do if you get to him without dying. And he'll start doing all of those if you die, and they're pretty nasty, so it can be kind of a chain reaction if you're not used to it.
Yeah, only if you die after the midway point. If you die before the midway checkpoint, I don't think that occurs, but if you definitely die afterwards, then yes, he gets his full range of attacks.
Zam getting pretty unlucky there. Tiger had 1 HP left, and he did a second swipe, so that's like another... How much is each swipe? Like 6-7 seconds lost?
It's probably 4 seconds. If you're able to, if you have the HP, you can actually bonk into him intentionally right as soon as he turns gold, and he'll take a swipe at you, and then he'll just jump up, so it prevents him going across the screen. So if he does go angry, that's the one way you can actually kind of mitigate any time loss that occurs.
So Celestinno opting to use the Tornado Fang in this stage. You can actually fire a Tornado Fang at an enemy, and it will become... I don't even know how to like explain it, but you can pass through the enemy without taking any damage for a couple of frames. And so he used that on the little egg turret guy, whereas Zam opted to use Buster to kill him. It takes like a full charge shot, and then I think 2 or 3 lemons. So if you're not that great at mashing, then the Tornado Fang might be a better option for you.
Yeah, the Tornado Fang will disable the hitbox for I think it's around 15 to 20 frames, so that gives you enough time to dash through them without stopping or taking damage.
And so this... Oh, sorry, I was just going to say this stage is really good at highlighting, you can have your own strategy and still make it through in just the same amount of speed, using Buster or Drill or what have you.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns in this stage, so this is really the stage where it really shows how well your movement capabilities are.
Yeah, especially the second half here, it can be really perilous.
Yeah, so now we're coming up on the Catfish fight. So our runners are going to be coming up and just attacking Catfish with Buster charges because they deal 2 damage apiece, and that's the best way of damaging him. You don't use the Drill right now because it actually causes a longer period of invulnerability. And what's really important is once Catfish goes below half health, Celestinno tried to go for the method that Catfish wants to keep jumping on X, so you can actually keep hitting him with the Buster charges, so he's not going into that desperation period. And that's to try to get as many Buster shots in before you go to the drills.
Yeah, once he gets below half, he'll start doing the desperation attack, and he's mostly invulnerable during that period, so you're kind of just forced to switch to your Tornado Fang to kill him. You want to use as few drills as possible by just, filling him with laying charge shots into him. Zam, unfortunately, got pretty unlucky and whiffed a charge shot right before Catfish went to the middle, so he had max drills, it looked like.
Yeah, and every drill after the first one that is optimal is a 3-second time loss. But the average number of drills that we normally see from a decent Catfish fight is around 4 or 5. 3 is really good, 2 is really good also. So now that the first 5 stages are done, these last 3 stages will contain the bite fight somewhere.
Not for Celestinno, apparently. No room with a view. This is also a stage where they get to go... This has the Teleporter to Vile's secret stage. We need to kill Vile, not just scare him off, because that'll allow us to get 0 Z-Saber in Doppler 2. Zam got Bite, whose weakness is Tornado Fang. It's a pretty easy fight, just like Bit. But if you mess up, he can do some big damage to you and combo you. So
he went for the no pause strat, which he didn't quite get. That last drill that he placed, you place that last drill about once the third hit from the previous drill does its damage, and then you get to the wall behind Bite so that he actually charges into that same wall like Buffalo, and then that actually stalls him there long enough for that last drill to do the necessary hits so that he's left with 1 HP, so he can just swap to Buster and not have to pause. And now for the Val fight, it's a two-phase fight. So what you want to do, you want to start with a full charge, hit the armor with 4 Buster charges, and then finish the rest of the hits with Ray Splasher. But you have to be careful because if X gets hit while firing the Ray Splasher, and that Ray Splasher shot has not dealt damage to Val, you have to swap back to Buster to make up that damage before you can continue on with the Ray Splasher. And I think Celestinno shot maybe an extra Buster charge or 2 just to ensure that he had a couple extra Ray Splasher shots in case he missed.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, especially for players that aren't as confident in fighting Vile. It can be kind of obnoxious because it looks easy, like you're just jumping and timing your jump while firing Ray Splashers into him, and he's got a pretty predictable pattern. But especially in the first phase, it's pretty easy to lose control if you take a hit. Because if you take a hit and he knocks you back out of range, he'll like zoom up to you and then start doing his AI pattern again. So you can lose control of that fight rather easily if you're not prepared.
Yeah, there's a little window that you have to be in Val's armor, and he'll just punch you. If you're any bit further away than that window, he'll actually dash up to you, and that can cause problems sometimes, especially if you're up against the wall, because I think if he punches the wall, literally, it actually knocks you down from it, and that can really be a problem.
Yeah, it's like Tunnel Rhino, I think, where the same effect pretty much. Where
yeah.
You're just going to fall off and take more damage. So yeah, Zam is doing the Val Escape. So he's using this Tri-Thunder here, and there's a unique property with it. If you actually hit the shot button 4 times before the electrodes discharge, it actually inverts the triangle, so you can actually continue it, and you can do that up to 4 times. Or for 4 cycles, and then it'll just drop. So he only used it for 3 times, and then he let it drop because he needs to activate another one as he does that climb, so the debris does not knock him off away from the wall as he's climbing. It's just a shield in essence. Yeah, in that segment there's just a bunch of random stuff falling, so it's really nice to have something covering above you, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So Celestinno gets a pretty good crawfish fight. So similar to the strat in Hundo, where you activate the Tri-Thunder, and it actually causes the 2-second period where crawfish is completely vulnerable. You actually swap off of Tri-Thunder and just mash with Buster. That's the fastest way of actually dealing the damage. It's not quite as fast as having a charged Tri-Thunder in 100%, but it similarly works the same way. And Zam almost got the 2 cycle.
I was gonna say, he's got some good mashing going there. Celestinno starting up Gravity Beetle stage, my personal favorite Maverick stage.
Yeah, it's a pretty tricky stage at the start because you got some precise climbing right there. As you see, Celestinno had a little difficulty with.
It's one of those things where you can practice it a bunch and feel good about it, but if one thing goes wrong, it's really it can be really difficult to recover because there's lots of enemies in that little area there on the inside. Yeah,
and they're all on screen and they're always shooting projectiles. So you've got like the purple enemy there that's shooting a cannonball at you. You've got the red head gunners shooting missiles at you, and then they follow up with their own cannonballs. So if you're not going through as fast as possible, you can easily find yourself getting hit over and over and over. Spinning. Yeah, go ahead.
I had no problem with that. Yes. Go through there flawlessly.
Spinning Blade is a really good item now that we have it. It takes out those head gunners pretty easily, but both of the spinning blades that you fire have to actually hit them. Not one spinning blade will kill it.
And that's actually true for a lot of enemies in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The gates too, actually, the green gates you'll see again in Doppler 1, where they'll probably be using Spinning Blade on them or Triad Thunder, but you need both of the Spinning Blades to hit.
Yeah, there's a lot of good weapons that you can use to take out a lot of these enemies. They're all equally as powerful, and not all runners use the same weapons for everything. There's always a little bit of variance. The beetle fight is very trivial. You typically just start with a Buster Charge, and as soon as the fight starts, you let it go, and then as Beetle's jumping, you just hit him with Ray Splasher over and over.
Yeah, very difficult boss.
There is a little bit of a frame saver. If you can time your Ray Splasher shots at particular moments during Beetle's jumping animation, as soon as his iframes run out, the next Ray Splasher shot can actually hit him on like the next frame. It's just a tiny optimization that you can try to do on him. If he goes angry, a Ray Splasher shot actually has to knock him out of that phase, and then the next Ray Splasher shot will actually hit him. Now for the last Maverick Blast Hornet.
Explodes Hornet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if Celestinno will go for the low percent jumps. Very, very difficult to pull off, but it feels so good and looks so good when you get it.
Yeah.
He's being safe with the vertical dashes.
Yeah, you usually see low percent is from the high level runners that are really good at doing them. But the up dash is always safe as well. And I don't know if he knows that he's in the lead, but I think he's taking every precaution that he can.
Yeah, he's been pretty good about maintaining this lead. No real major mistakes, and no real like risky strategies either. So
for the Shuriken fight here, every time you hit him with the acid, he'll jump. But he had his iframe period is a little bit longer than the 60 frames, so you have to space your acid shots out a little bit. Because go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask: is it longer than it visually?
Yeah, it actually
looks?
is. Yeah, because he actually, I believe, his iframes will expire, and I think he flashes still, or it's the other way around. But you can actually hit him, and the hit does not register, but he still jumps. Pretty strange. So Celestinno now gets his bite fight.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He hasn't fought.
Yeah, so we may see Zam take the lead. He probably will. I'm not really sure, but we'll know after this bite fight's over. Yeah, it looks like Zam's going to take the lead here.
And Celestinno doing the pause strat here.
Yeah, you don't want to trigger the explosion. So the ending here, a dash lemon and one more lemon will take out those column of blocks.
You see Zam start this fight here with a charge shot and then switch to Spinning Blade, which isn't Hornet's weakness, but using Gravity Well creates lag and also I believe his iframes are longer. And Spinning Blade does 2 damage, which is very unusual for a non-weakness Maverick weapon to do. But so that is actually the optimal strategy, and it's really good at killing these bees.
Yeah, good fact. Gravity Beetle also has a soft weakness, but it is Blast Hornet's own weapon, the Parasite Bomb.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, you'll see that. Yeah, you see that in low percent. Oh, that last blade that Zam had lingering around, Hornet just cruises into it.
Yeah, very nice. And we've got ourselves a pretty close race so far. It's like a 8-second difference, maybe?
It looks to be that way.
So one more cutscene here, but it's not quite as long as the first one.
So now we'll see if that extra heart tank and sub tank that Celestinno picks up will come in handy here. So So right off the bat in Doppler 1, we have a pretty technical section before the mini-boss here. Especially with the spike ceiling section coming up. Oh, and now Zam gets the acid gap shot, but he didn't grab the ladder, unfortunately. They both get it.
It still looks cool, even if you don't get it. It's a very, like, precise window to be able to shoot your acid up. It's just an awkward strat in general, but it's very nice when it comes to fruition. It means you don't have to take any damage either. Yeah, that meta capsule will always snipe you if you just climb the ladder. Oh, I thought Celestinno was going to get away from that mace shot, but unfortunately not. So this guy, you can do either a charge shot or a charge shot and 2 frost shields or 3 frost shields, correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you see them jump over him and like take, a bunch of damage from him. Because X automatically walks over to 0, and you want to minimize that time because X walking is really slow. Zam gets the Buster shot on that Caterpillar without much problem. The Buster has a huge hitbox on that first frame that it's active, so it actually goes outside of X's body length, which is pretty neat. Celestinno cutting it close on that gate with the spinning blades, but he makes it through. We're coming up to God Car Machine, one of the reasons that Celestinno picked up the hearts, I believe. Can he take a hand? He still dies if he gets grabbed. He can take 2 swipes from the sword, he can take 2 body bonks, or he can take a hit from a sword and a punch. Just the punch that didn't bite do after that first hand only does 6 damage. Zam getting through with no real problems here. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of close. This boss is, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy. But one mistake, obviously, and you're toast. Mm-hmm. Unless, of course, you've gotten some safeties like Celestinno has. They both got through with no real problems. And speaking of problems, we're coming to Doppler 2. I mean, right away you'll see these big red guys. Look at Zam's health right now. He just took 8 damage from body contact with that guy, which is ridiculous. Yeah, the red Victoroids are no joke. Don't touch them. And the lasers deal 4 damage also, so... Yeah, so even if you get that sweet strategy, like, you still have to avoid the lasers if you want to get through there. Oh, Celestinno taking a bonk. I thought he was going to get through that with no problem. But he's actually still good on health because he can still do the LA skip properly with 10 HP. Yeah, you only need, 8, I think, to survive it? I think, 8, because you can take 7 on the climb. Oh yeah, if you do the snail damage boost instead of whatever, the last hellet. Yeah. So it's very important, now that you killed Vile back on Crawfish, you need to swap to 0 before this fight, and you have to kill mosquitoes with 0. And 0 cannot die, or you lose the Z-Saber. But if you do it correctly, you'll get the best weapon. And so, in a tournament setting, say if you were to die as 0 against mosquitoes, would you end up just having to reset your console and start from password Doppler 1? Or 0 would still be dead, wouldn't he? Yeah, you have to reset your console and you have to Zam. And you have to password back at Doppler 1 because, the password you get after defeating Doppler 1 does not save your progress, sadly. Right, you can't password to any stage beyond Doppler 1. Yeah, this isn't X2 where you have passwords that can actually put you in specific X-Hunter stages. Celestinno making sure he's got enough health. And yeah, Zam, I don't know why he could have... Oh wow, that is... that was one heck of a save. It's a shame that he couldn't see it through. Celestinno... Ooh, okay. Good save. Wow, that was a great save. Wonderful.
that had me worried, but he held on. He didn't panic. That's a very key thing in the mental game is you don't panic on this skip.
Yeah, you definitely can't be out of your mind.
Ooh, I probably wouldn't have gone for that. Okay,
Yeah.
he got hit. That was what I was worried about.
He was so close to him.
Yeah. So we haven't covered it yet, but the Z Saber, once you get it, it replaces your highest level charge. So you still charge up to the Buster charge, but instead of showing gold, it will show you the green charge. And once you fire that shot away, you get instant access to the Saber. And another thing, if you get damaged while you're trying to throw the Saber, but before it makes contact with your enemy, it actually knocks you out of that animation and it actually cancels your Saber.
Yeah, it can be really frustrating, especially in the boss rush. And there's like actually a frame perfect mistake you can make, or not a mistake, but like a glitch, I guess, where I think, what is it? You swap like one frame before hitting the ground, and then the next time you Saber, you just basically dry shot.
Yeah, you just shoot a blank.
Yeah, so that can be annoying.
Let's see right there. Celestinno, I think, got Saber canceled when he tried to Saber, and that little hornet got him during the animation, so he had to recharge.
So now we've got a pretty close race.
Yeah.
We're only about 2 seconds apart here.
But notably, Zam has died twice, so if he dies again, it's a game over, I believe. Unless he picked up a 1-up that we did not know about.
He could. Can't you Saber the health thing in the middle?
Yes, that is true. If you can get a guaranteed 1-up from the recharge capsule if you destroy it with the Saber. If Zam realizes that if he's down on health, he may opt to do that. I don't know if he has a extra life to give or not. But if he dies on the Doppler fight and he game overs, it's pretty much a done deal. Because he has to redo the entire refights all over again.
Oh, don't say that. That would break my heart. So Celestino is going to abuse one more time the invincibility frame stun glitch with Seahorse here, except he has the Saber now. So instead of, mashing frost shards into him, he'll just do, 16 damage with the Saber every frame. So 16 damage one frame, 16 damage the next frame, and after 2 frames, he's dead.
And that's what's really neat about the Z-Saber is that you can actually charge and swap to a weapon while you're charging. So it gives you kind of the half property of the Buster upgrade. But you can't fire the charge versions, obviously. But it gives you kind of like that link, like from Buster shot into weapon charging.
Yeah, it's actually a nice little quality of life thing that you're able to charge with a weapon out. Even if you can't let go of fire, because then you'll just fire the regular version of that weapon. But if you can, fire a Maverick weapon, hold the button, and then, cancel back to your normal Buster, and then fire the Saber.
Yeah, that's how the Seahorse quick kill is done. So it's a pretty neat little combination attack, if you will, to take him out. And you do that with Crawfish also.
Yeah. Celestino is starting with the Ray Splasher. Oh, and he gets the rainbow.
Oh no.
And he's at pretty low health, so okay, he's fine.
Yeah, Zam's also at kind of midway health also, so he needs to really consider getting some health, which he probably will go for. Nope. He's going to keep going. Well, he's going into Seahorse, so this refight shouldn't be a big issue. Celestino is opting for health, so he's doing that. So Zam gets the quick kill on Seahorse, and we're going to see Celestino get the quick kill with Crushed Crawfish.
Yeah, and since, he's got the extended iframes, you can just dump the charge shot into him. And since you can't fire the Saber until the charge shot is completely off screen, that's actually pretty beneficial that he doesn't go into iframes. You just charge shot, and you can just mash the shoot button to get the Saber out as quick as possible.
Celestino has his turn with Rhino.
And we actually get to see Rhino's, actual AI this time.
I don't think we covered it, but also it was used during the early skip. The Saber canceling After X throws the saber, he's actually cannot do any actions until he puts the saber away. But we can bypass that by swapping to a weapon. And it's also kind of key in some of these refights, if you do them optimally, to actually saber cancel so that you can actually get movement. Because sometimes doing the saber will lock you onto the ground, and then an enemy could just run you over, like in the case of Tunnel Rhino.
Right, and it's actually also, going back to the being able to charge with the weapon out is another, you can just start charging your saber again that much sooner if you weapon cancel.
Right. Celestinno tried to saber Tiger, but he blocked it. Unlike the Hyper C in Hundo, this is actually considered a charge shot. So if you throw the saber on Tiger, if he's not guarding, he's going to guard. So Zam is going to probably go for the quick kill here.
So he's taking it safe.
Yeah, he's wise call.
Yeah, definitely. I think contact damage with Doppler is a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, contact Doppler from Doppler is 8 damage. Taking a shot from his projectile is 6.
Yeah, so in general, it's just good to not take any damage. And that green thing he does is actually him regenerating if you do any damage to him. So you just want to... He'll do it anytime he's on the ground not attacking and you fire at him. So you want to blow your charge shot off the other side of the screen before you hit him with your first saber to kind of manipulate him into that pattern.
Yeah, you wait for him to drop his regeneration field, then you hit him with the first saber, and while he's doing the projectile shots, you can just charge up the second saber, and then you can freely hit him with the saber for the second hit, because once his HP is 0, the fight's over.
Yeah.
He can't regenerate once he's dead.
And what we never actually talked about neons. So what the saber allows us to do is if you're in an air dash and you fire the saber and jump on the same frame, the frame that you fire the saber in the air dash, the game thinks that X is standing on the ground, so it allows him to get an extra, basically double jump, which is how the elevator skip is possible.
Yeah, actually, the saber jump, the neon saber jump, is actually a little bit more lenient. It's not really frame perfect. I think it's a little bit wider. I think it's like 6 or 7 frames.
Yeah, that would make sense. So
because,
I was just gonna say they both got through at least Captain America.
Yeah, and Sam just took out Kaiser Sigma.
Yeah. So he's in hopefully safe waters here, and I think he knows enough about how to climb the wall to be safe.
Yeah, unlike X1 and X2, the run is not over once you kill the final boss. You actually have to climb up the wall here to escape from the lava, and you actually have to get to the top.
Alright, so both our boys are out. It looks like Zam's gonna take this one, but GG's to both. They both...
Yeah, this was a close race. And Zam's shooting the acid shot there. It just lags, but it's just for fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, normally you just do this climb Buster only, because the more sprites that are on screen, the more it lags.
And that includes having the weapon energy thing on screen, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah. And the longer your HP bar is, but that's really not an issue. It's just everything else.
Yeah.
So Energy Zam finishes with a time of 43:12, and Celestinno finishes with 43:31.
Yeah, very close race.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, not only does he have the shield, but he throws it just like our boy Captain America.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have another race coming up at 7, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, you got Darrenville and Louise coming up.
Oh my, that's gonna be a real barn burner to see Louise in action again. I know he's already raced once so far.
Yeah, he died to Vile. It was an interesting mistake.
Yeah, I saw that race. Actually, it was really weird. I haven't seen that before out of Louise.
Yeah, we'll just call it a fluke.
Yeah, but he still finished with like a I think it was a 41-0 something.
Yeah. And Luis, if anybody didn't know, I believe it was mentioned in chat, but he has the record in this category at 39-39.
Yeah.
And it's just a pleasure to watch. It's very good.
We'll see if our racers want to do a post-race interview. I think Zam's going to come in. And I think Celestino is as well. And we got Zam in here. How's it going, Zam?
Yo, yo.
Howdy.
So, congratulations on the race.
Thanks.
Um,
A lot more practice to do for my next matches.
Were you aware that you had one life going into the boss rush?
Yeah, that's why I farmed health partway through, and also why I didn't do the like stand in the corner fight on Doppler himself, because I knew that if I messed that up, it was game over, and that's like a several minute loss.
Yeah.
Figured I'd play that a little safe.
Yeah, Celestino actually picked up some safety items, and he was still, like, right in there. Would you consider going for maybe a safety item next time, or are you just going to go all in all the time?
I'll just go all in all the time. And it'll be fine as long as I practice more.
Yeah, as expected.
Practice more and do more runs. Like, this is my first run of this game since, like, the last time I streamed it or something. Been doing practice off and on, but it usually works better for me if I kind of mix in practice and runs. I just haven't done any of runs.
I don't know. You think? What do you think your chances are of possibly getting an actual PB in this race? Because I know you've been away from the X3 scene for a while, Zam. You've been working on X1 for quite a bit. So you think you have an ambition of maybe getting a 2X or a 1X in this tournament?
Yeah. I hope to PB probably before I get knocked out of the tournament, if that happens. Just need to put the time in. My PB's really old anyway. It's about time I update that.
Yeah.
Where do you think you can save the most time?
I have a lot of time to save in the 8 mavs, but really pretty much all over the place. Like, from what I remember of my splits, my sum of best isn't even world record yet, so there's like definitely a lot of room, like in a lot of sections of the game.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think we're going to stay live for the next race.
Who's coming up next?
Louise and Darrenville. I forgot how he says his name now. I can't remember if it was Darrenville or Darrenville, but
it's Vil on Twitch and Vile in Discord. So make of that what you will. Yeah, we'll just go.
Yeah,
Darren.
everyone was calling him Darrenville, so he just changed his Twitch name to Darrenville. If you can't beat him, join him, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just stay on. I believe for the next match.
Yeah.
So it should be a good one. Darrenville's been coming up in X3 kind of lately. I think he's got a 42 also.
He has a 42.01, I believe.
Oh yeah,
so,
he's getting there.
Yeah, and like when I looked at the groups, I think when the groups were first released, he had like a 44 or something. So I was like, oh, I think if I practice enough, it might be reasonable. And now, like, dang.
Yeah, and as we've mentioned, Luis does have the world record with a 39.39. I believe he's had the record in any percent by himself, but Ochsgard did tie the record at one point, and then Luis just dropped it another 10 seconds. So Louise is capable of a lot of stuff, and I know he's probably wanting to get that fabled 38 SDA run. And I believe the race channel for the next race is already up.
Yes. It just got up.
Just want to say, while we're preparing for the next match, you are watching the Mega Man X3 80% tournament. We are in the opening stages of pool play. I believe we will have pool play for the next, I think, month or so, and then we'll have the top two finishers from each pool advance to the single elimination bracket. And I believe we have, I think, 28 entrants. Not as many as what we had in the X2 tournament, sadly, but it's still a decent turnout.
Yeah, I didn't even know 28 people played this game.
Yeah, I think we had a lot more that initially registered and joined, but I think a few of them pulled out the last moment.
Yeah, rest in peace, Tiki. But he got a great time in X2, so he's alright.
Oh yeah, Tiki did enter, and then he was focusing on X2, in which he got the world record a couple days ago, which is really awesome. And he's looking to take that record down a little bit more. So I don't blame him for dropping X3.
It's like Darrenville getting in some last-minute elevator skip practice, as he should.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I am also a new player. I didn't play this game before I signed up. I think that's a really cool thing about speed gaming tournaments, actually. And that the fact that it's a tournament should absolutely not turn you off from learning the game, because there are tons of people that want to sign up for the tournament that just have never played. So you in most cases you're probably not alone.
Yeah, and it's a good resource for players, especially. You can get a lot of knowledge just from the commentary, just from a lot of the matches, and you can use that pretty much as a learning tool as you go and improve. You can always watch your own matches and watch other matches and see what you're doing different than everybody else and how you can improve.
Yeah, and like in a tournament setting, people are going to be getting backups and safeties and whatnot, so it's different than, just looking at a world record run or a top player's run and trying to copy that, just, that one speed run. You get to see a bunch of different speed runs and see different strategies and backup strategies, etc.
Yeah, and what makes X3 a little bit different than X2 and X1, I mean, there's not a lot of intense input action through going to stages. You're just basically just dashing and then jumping, and then you're only firing weapons when you need to. It only gets really intensive in a couple of spots, like the elevator skip and maybe the boss rush at the end. But other than that, it's not as input heavy as the other two games.
It does require a little bit more mashing, I think, though, than the other two X games. Well, not X1, but
yeah, only in a couple places you really need to mash, but it's definitely not the intro in X1. And you really don't mash a lot in X2. I don't believe mashing's really even necessary in X2. I don't believe there's any applications of it.
no.
And what's really notable, there's not many RNG elements. That's a real big issue. So it's a really good, straightforward race. Let the best player win.
Yeah, pretty much. It can be kind of a struggle for newer players like myself, especially because Kaiser Sigma and Captain America are so threatening, and also elevator skip. But yeah, as Justin said, it's very very little RNG, and what RNG there is not like super decisive on whether or not your run is good or not. Although I guess it depends on who you are.
Oh, that was a neat little D-boost, but then the helmet blocked his exit.
Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite parts about learning the elevator skip, actually, was figuring out, how can I get out of this crappy situation if, it doesn't go exactly right. Because this is one thing where, it looks pretty precise, but yeah, there are definitely some alternative strategies.
Ooh, that's the good strat right there. That's a cool strat right there. Just landing on the snail and then just jumping up and just letting the D-boost from the helmet let you climb up. Pretty neat. So our racers have joined the race. They're just getting their last minute setups, and then we'll be readying up here pretty soon.
You want to talk a little bit about control schemes too, because I know just looking at Louise's, it's completely different than how I play or how Ouchguard plays, how you play.
Yeah, I use default controls.
I don't know how.
Yeah, it's the way I've played my whole life, so I'm just kind of used to it. But yeah, you will see some players use R as their dash. You'll see, I think some will use L dash. So that basically, instead of having all of your action buttons mapped on your XYAB scheme, you kind of split them up, so it kind of separates all your actions between your two hands. So it kind of makes movement a little bit easier, but it does require a little bit more coordination.
Yeah, definitely. I find myself occasionally jumping before I dash or dashing before I hit the ground, stuff like that. One thing that I actually started on R dash and moved to L dash because I was getting really bad hand cramps trying to do everything with my right hand. But again, it's all preference. You just play around with what you think is going to work best, what you have the best command over. And with that, we're starting.
Yeah, our racers have readied. The countdown is on, and we will get started here in just a few seconds. For the record, the Speedruns Live race record is 40 minutes, 27 seconds, held by myself. Like I said in the Buckeye Speed Bash run that happened a couple days ago, I'm sure that will get broken by Louise at some point in this tournament. It's just a matter of when.